I was telling Mayor, I heard that.
This 1st of October, Rabbi Levitt, Horeb.
Okay. Horeb. What are we up to today? We're up to oh.
Looks like Kedushin and Nisuin.
Yeah, we finished it. We finished the setting up house. It seemed to be a little out of order. You should have the Kedushin and the Nisuin before setting up the house.
Yeah. And one would think.
I know he's saying in order before you do Kedushin and Nisuin, you got to know how to set up the house.
Ah.
Yeah, he's right. But I don't know how many people know that before they set up the house, how to set it up. So, all right. So, 81. So, Mayor, would you like to begin?
Okay. I will do that right now. Okay, so we have a couple of Pesukim here. When a man taketh a wife and marrieth her from Devarim, and in Breshit it says, therefore shall a man leave his father and mother and shall cleave unto his wife, and they shall be one flesh. So maybe that was in reverse order too. No, maybe not. The pasuk in Breshit is much more comprehensive, I think. Okay.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Okay, so 529.
Very good. Please continue. Please proceed.
Okay.
Counselor.
That group of human beings whom birth or conditions of life have linked together in such a way that they apply in common the maximum quantity of material and spiritual assets to the attainment of the maximum number of divine objectives, i.e., who carry out the task of life jointly in their circle, is called a household. Oh, there you go. The administration of the household is, however, twofold. It consists first in acquiring the largest possible quantity of useful assets, both material and spiritual, such as property of the home, in protecting the home and representing it to the outside world, and in the general direction of the employment of those assets for the purposes of the household. Secondly, in the wise day-to-day use of what has been acquired in distributing it fairly among the members of the household, and in continually watching over the individual members and their training for their life's task. The first is the task of the husband, the second of the wife.
The first task of the husband was when he was referring to it consists first of acquiring the largest possible quantity of useful assets, both material as well as spiritual. Okay. Oh, and secondly, in the wise day-to-day use of what has been acquired and distributing it fairly among the members of the household and watching over those members and their training for their life's task. That is the province of the wife. Interesting. I would have thought that would be at least the husbands, if not as well as the wives. Okay. Anyway, so the first task is acquisition of material and spiritual assets, and they form the wherewithal of the home, and offering protection of the home, and the general direction of the employment of those assets for the purposes of the household. That's the decision of the husband, but the actual carrying out of those things in the day-to-day use of what has been acquired, and distributing it and watching over the members and their training, that's the wife's task. Okay. Interesting. Okay. Because the wife is more involved in the house. She's in the house. She sees what's going on in the house, so she's the one that's entrusted with uh, fulfilling and putting into action all of the directives and the direction that the husband has provided.
Mhm.
Okay. 5:30, we go to Lou. Oh, is somebody else here in the waiting room? Alan is here.
Oh, very good.
If therefore the founding of a home is the highest task of life, because the welfare of the people and of humanity flowers only in and through the home, and it is there that the younger generation is brought up for Hashem, and perhaps there is the temple where the fear and love of Hashem and trust in Hashem are planted and cultivated and realized in actual life, then that task can be performed only by man and woman together, neither by the man alone nor by the woman alone. For that reason, Hashem planted in the human breast the love of man for woman and of woman for man, in order that man and woman should unite for the true end of life, to carry out together the task of life, which they can only half fulfill singly, in order, as the sages say, to become together a human being in the true sense. Therefore, the man leaves the parental home and attaches himself to his wife in order to found a family, and they become a single being. And therefore, the wife clings to the husband and willingly subordinates herself to him. Such a union of man and woman for the true purpose of life is called marriage, and it is of the making of such a marriage that the law speaks.
Hmm.
Good morning.
Okay. Good morning, Alan.
Morning.
Good to see you today. How you doing?
Baruch Hashem. Okay. What page? What are we on?
Okay, we're up to section 531.
31.
Yeah, it's on page 396, and it's section 531.
Okay, got it.
Okay, you want to read?
Sure. There are two sides to marriage. One, the union of husband and wife for carrying out the purpose of life. The other, the accomplishment of that purpose by means of the home. Corresponding to these two aspects are two steps by which the marriage is concluded: Kedushin and Nisuin. Kedushin, consecration, which signifies the exclusive dedication and transference of the woman to the man, achieves the personal union of the husband and wife. Nisuin, talking to oneself, the reception of the wife into the husband's home, signifies the joint performance of the life task through the home.
Okay. Kedushin and Nisuin. Kedushin is the consecration, the exclusive dedication, and transference of the woman to the man. And that achieves the union between the husband and the wife. And the Nisuin is taking to oneself the receiving of the wife into the husband's home. Signifies the joint performance of the life task through the home.
Okay.
Okay, we're up to 532. And now he's going to go further into Kedushin. Looks like he's going to talk about the halachic aspects of Kedushin. So we go to Mayor to continue, please.
Okay, Kedushin. Wherever it is desired to impress on an object a stamp, which shall give it a place in human society, this is effected by means of the word, which expresses the significance that that object shall henceforth bear for mankind. And just as Adam gave names to all the creatures, and as he named each with reference to himself, so its name remained. So now, too, man dominates the world. That is to say, his world, through the word, impresses his stamp on all beings through the word, and therefore must pay supreme attention to the character which has been given to things by man's word. All law is based on notions and the words that express them. Nevertheless, in most cases, the fleeting word must be reinforced by some visible action, which in turn embodies and holds fast the word. The word is fixed for all time, either through being written down, star, or as in the case, for instance, of the transference of a commodity by one person to another through acceptance of payment, kesef, or some symbol representing the payment, chalifin, or thirdly, through some act corresponding to the chapter, to the character which the object is henceforth to bear, mishicha chezka. Here too, where a human being is to receive a new character, where the woman is to dedicate herself exclusively to the man and the man to the woman. This dedication is accomplished through the word and through an act embodying the word.
Mm-hmm. So there's a combination of words and actions which which form the basis for the Maisa Kedushin.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay. So that takes care of Kedushin, or he's going to continue with Kedushin in the next section on the top of page 397. We go to section 533. Lou, please take over.
Oh, you're mute, Lou.
Sorry about that. The woman belongs exclusively to the man as soon as, in the presence of two competent witnesses, he gives her the value of a pruta of his property while repeating the words, Hare at mikudeshes li b'tabat zu kudas Yisrael, kudas Moshe b'Yisrael. That is, you are sanctified to me by this, according to the law of Moses and Israel. And she freely accepts what is offered. Mikudeshes, sanctified, is the precise word which expresses the character of the woman as wife, as being withdrawn from everyone else and every other man, and belonging only to the one man who holds her as consecrated to him. The man made the declaration, since he, as a sole representative and ruler of the household, consecrates her to himself as a wife. He it is whose direction the wife too gives herself up, devoting all her powers to the fulfillment of her life's task within his station and his calling. He gives her a specified portion of his property, symbolizing with it the total product of all his labors, which henceforth belongs to his wife and his family. In return, the wife gives herself up wholly to him. She must accept the preferred gift of her own free will, since no consent may be extorted from a person against his will, just as no person can decide about a thing which is not his own. And this procedure must take place in the presence of two witnesses competent to testify. A witness, aid from avod, duration, is one who personally perceives an occurrence, retains it in his memory, and so gives permanence to what is transitory. An occurrence can be clearly grasped only by one who stands outside and above it. The individual stands above all inanimate things and impersonal relationships, but higher than the individual stands society, where only things are concerned. A single individual can be a witness. For example, in cases of Isser, prohibited things, and the like. But where human personalities are concerned, only society can be witness. Society, however, is most simply represented by its minimum membership, that is, not less than two. Such is the supreme importance attached to marriage in the affairs of society, that if society is not represented at it by two of its component members as witnesses, the marriage is void. To be properly qualified, such witnesses must be free men for only these represent the external human society. They must have attained their religious majority. They must be in full possession of their physical and mental facilities, hence not blind, dumb, deaf, or crazy. They must belong to the religious union, that is, not be non-Jews. They must be of unblemished character. They must be entirely outsiders to the affair, that is, not related to one of the parties. And they must definitely constitute two sources of evidence, that is, not be related to one another within certain grades.
Not related to one another within certain grades. Oh, I mean, certain relative. We would call them relatives, but they wouldn't be. It wouldn't be a type of a relation which would invalidate them being witnesses. Suppose what he means. Okay. Okay, 534. We continue.
Before we do that, about
Yeah.
10 lines down, it says, the man makes a declaration since he, as the sole representative and ruler of the household, he consecrates her to himself as wife. So they call a man the ruler.
Mm-hmm. Right? He's explaining why it is that the man makes the Kedushin. Right? Why does the man make the Kedushin? Maybe the women could also make a Kedushin. I think in the Reform marriages, I think that's what they do.
Wow.
So he's explaining why is it that the man is the one that is Makadish the woman. The act of Kedushin is a declaration that's made by the man. So that's because she is becoming consecrated to him, meaning she cannot get married to anybody else after she accepts Kedushin from this man.
Right.
Could this man take another wife? Yeah.
No.
He could. So that's how I would understand. That's how I understand why the man is making the Kedushin over here. He's saying a reason because he's the. Yeah, I guess that's part of the fact that he's the one who's the ruler of the house. He's the one that makes Kedushin. I actually prefer my explanation better, but anyway, that's another story. He's talking conceptually. He's the one who's the leader. He's the one that sets the general direction of the employment of the material and spiritual assets of the home. That's what he said in 529. Okay. Whose turn is it to read now? Who read the 533? Oh, Mayor, you read 533?
Alan,
No, I read 532.
Oh, so okay, so we're up to back to Luke for 534 then.
Okay,
Okay.
That right?
that's it.
yeah, I thought so.
Yeah, 534 is next, right?
Only through such a union do man and woman become husband and wife. This most holy of human tasks should never be performed casually and without due consideration. Otherwise, it might appear as one of the unworthiest. It should not be consummated without previous courtship and not in a chance encounter. The bridegroom's gift should be worth at least 1 pruta, that is, half a barleycorn of fine silver. Usually, it must be wholly of the bridegroom. If it is borrowed, the lender must know for what purpose it is required in order that he may present it for that purpose. If it is borrowed from a married woman, her husband must know of it. No ring with a precious stone should be used, since not everyone knows how to value such a thing. Are usually veiled, and they take it for granted that the Kedushin ring is worth at least a pruta. It is customary to place the ring on the forefinger of the right hand, the witness at the whole of the proceedings. The man's declaration must state that he herewith consecrates the woman as his wife, and so it must be understood by her also. Even without any express declaration, if what has been said already makes it clear that the ring has been accepted and given as being meant for Kedushin, it affects Kedushin. A woman can become a Mikudeshes, consecrated to a man as a man's wife, only of her own free will. But as soon as an adequate audible or visible intimation and all external circumstances proclaim her willingness and her serious and purpose of marriage, and contrary, then the public must abide by this outward expression, pay no attention to any inner reservation or other difference of intention which may be alleged. It is society which invests the words and other forms of expression with their sense of import, and whoever uses them tacitly accepts the sense attached to them by society. Hence, none should perform Kedushin in jest, and every unmarried woman should beware of accepting or even without speaking, indicating her acceptance of anything which might give her remotest appearance of Kedushin. Although the Kedushin, which the father accepts on behalf of his daughter, who is still a minor, are legally valid, yet in practice, he should not make use of this right and should wait till his daughter reaches the age when she can decide for herself.
Oh,
That's interesting where it is.
you know where we learned that from?
Oh,
From when Eliezer went to go
when what?
be Makadish. Eliezer, Avraham Avinu sent Eliezer to go find a wife for Yitzchak, and he got to Bilam's house. What was it, Bilam? Am I thinking of? You know those his family. Bilam, what's his name again? Lavan.
Yeah.
Lavan and his son Besuel over there. So
Besuel was Lavan's father.
So they said over there. What?
Besuel was Lavan's father.
Besuel was Lavan's father?
Yeah.
Okay, at any rate, but whoever it was over there, the father said, let's ask her and see what she has to say about this, if she wants to go, because they were negotiating, and Eliezer says, he's not going to stay here. She's got to be ready to go. We're gonna be going if she wants to come. And he said, okay, so well, let's ask her. I think that's the source for what he's saying over here of Hirsch, that because Rivka was a minor, and so he says over here of Hirsch, it's brought in the halacha that even though a woman a father could accept kedushin for his daughter who's not yet of age, but it's preferable that such a kedushin not be done, and should wait until she's of age, and she could decide for herself at that point. Not to say that the kedushin of Eliezer of Yitzchak Avinu and Rivka was b'diavad, but anyway, things were different back then.
I have a question.
Yeah.
I don't understand it. It says that the ring must be wholly the property of the bridegroom. And then it says if it is borrowed. If it's borrowed, it's not property of the bridegroom. I don't get it.
The bridegroom's gift must be worth at least a pruta, usually a ring. It must be wholly the property of the bridegroom. And if it is borrowed, the lender must know for what purpose it is required in order that he may present it for that purpose. If it is borrowed from a married woman, the husband must know about it. So what's the question?
If it's borrowed, then it's not wholly owned by the bridegroom.
Oh, so on the one hand, he's saying the ring has to be owned by the bride in Even Ezer 28. But we don't have time to look in there right now. You need to look that up, see what's going on over there. I'm assuming, I'll take a guess that, well, why bother to guess? I think the point. I think the word borrowed over here is a bad word. I think what it means, right? The word lend. I mean, when a lender lends something to you, right? He lends you $1,000. Now, who owns the $1,000 right now? Anybody know?
He lends you.
The borrower
lender lends the borrower $1,000. Who owns the $1,000 after the lending?
The borrower.
The borrower, exactly. So that's what Rav Hirsch is talking about. I think that's what he might be talking about. In that case, the bridegroom is the borrower. Now that's when it comes to money. When it comes to an item like this, you're right. In a different item, when you borrow a ring from somebody, what does that mean? You borrow it. That doesn't mean that you own it. It means that you borrowed it. Now you're going to give it back to them, that ring. It's different with money. Money is different. Okay, so we'll have to see what this is all about. If it is borrowed, the lender must know for what purpose it is required in order that he may present it for that purpose. But I think the answer to the question is that whatever it is that Rav Hirsch is talking about over here, at the end of the day, the item, even though they say it's borrowed, it belongs to the bridegroom. What the bridegroom gives has to be totally owned by the bridegroom when he gives it for Kedushin.
So that's going to lead to the next question, which is, if it's wholly owned by the bridegroom, then what do I care about the lender? He's irrelevant. But I can ask that question again tomorrow if you want.
Yeah, if the lender didn't want to give it over for this purpose, it might undo the lender's interest to give it over. So then that would undo the ownership of the bridegroom of this item that was quote unquote lent to him, which we're saying means it's being owned by him.
I see.
The language is confusing, admittedly, very confusing. Well, I'd look it up. I'd rather look it up tomorrow in the Shulchan Aruch and see exactly what the words are.
Okay, thank you, Rabbi.
All the
Okay,
best, everybody.
have a good day.